Hello, and congratulations! You have selected to write the Society Compare and Contrast essay feature by feature. This means you have found similarities and differences between the same features in both the book and modern American society. So at this point, you should have one feature that shows a similarity on your Society Compare page, as well as that same feature and how it is different on your Society Contrast page. For each page, you need to have a quote in the Society Compare page showing how it's the same, and a modern example of what it looks like in our world in the same way, and then a quote supporting the difference and what is different about the way that feature exists in our society. If you do not have those things completed at this point, please pause the video and complete that process now. If you are ready to begin writing your paragraph, this is what goes in the paragraph. You will start with a topic sentence that tells the reader what the paragraph is about. You will put a supporting detail, a quote from the book using TLQC. You will provide commentary and analysis explaining what is similar about that feature in American society. Then you will repeat that same process with a supporting detail and evidence and commentary for the difference, and you will complete the paragraph with a transitional sentence into your next compare and contrast paragraph about a different feature. So, here's what that looks like. I have written a sample paragraph that compares and contrasts the same feature between my book and modern American society. So I start off with my topic sentence. One feature that has both similarities and differences is school. So that's the same feature that I wrote about on my pages. Schools for children and school in my Society Contrast page. So I'm going to start by talking about the similarities. First, I will say what it looks like in the book. For instance, in The Giver, Jonas's friend Asher showed up late to school and had to apologize for his tardiness. The instructor said, "And I thank you because once again you have provided an opportunity for a lesson in language. Distraught is too strong of a word to describe salmon viewing." He turned and wrote distraught on the instructional board. Beside it, he wrote distracted 4. So the strategy that I used for that was TLQC, which stands for transition, lead-in, quote, citation. For instance, was my transitional phrase, and after a transitional phrase I put a comma. Then I give my lead-in that gives the context or background of the quote in the book. People need to understand what was happening at that point in the story, so I provide that lead-in. Then I can give my actual quote. I put it in quotation marks, and I end it with a comma instead of a period, because I have to go on to the citation, which is the page number on which that quote appears in the book, and I end it in a period. After giving the quote and using TLQC, I need to explain how that is similar to the way things are in our society. So I said, this is similar to the way things go in American schools. Oftentimes, I have to stop a class to clarify meaning, which I then write on the board. Teaching language is an important part of the American school system, and using student mistakes as a teachable moment is a common strategy. So now I've explained what that looks like in our society in a similar way. But what I'm also doing, in addition to the similarities, as I said in my topic sentence, I'm also explaining the differences of this feature. So now I can go and talk about the differences in this book. I will use, first I'll let the reader know that I am going to now talk about the differences. However, a difference is that the societies have, or the difference the societies have is the age at which schooling stops. So that's the same difference I pointed out on my society contrast page. So these two things from my compare page and my contrast page match each other. Now I can give the quote from the book. Again, I will use TLQC, transition leading quote citation. For example, in The Giver, school ends at the age of 12. Then I give my quote. The ceremony of 12, and I put ... because I'm skipping over some of the quote to make it make more sense. That ... is called an ellipsis, and you can use that if you need to remove any part of a quote to help it make more sense. The ceremony of 12 is the last of the ceremonies. What's important is the preparation for adult life and the training you'll receive for your assignment. 17. So now that I've given my quote, I have to explain how that's different in our society. From that point forward, students begin training for their new assigned jobs, and they are no longer in school. So I'm further explaining that quote. In contrast, in America, students graduate high school at 18 and still have no idea what they are going to do with their lives. Many of them continue their education in college, but they have a choice in what they do after that. So I explained how that is different in our society because we end school at a different age. Now that I've shown the similarities and differences between that one feature, I can transition to my next paragraph. Even though there are similarities and differences when it comes to school, it is not the only feature that may be used to compare and contrast the two societies. So I have reviewed that I just talked about the similarities and differences in school, and I have previewed that I'm going to compare and contrast a different feature. So hopefully this helps you understand how to write the first paragraph of your compare and contrast essay in the body of the essay. But if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask.